Yeah, and so but I ended up.
I may not be.
Am I heavy? I'm heavy.
You know, I
There is like
I wasn't there.
I don't need one.
yeah, I know.
Yeah, I had to play the computers. I didn't need to read anything, but I had one before I think I only had like 10 lines from all of it.
Attached to it.
Yes. It's
To be surgically removed.
How does it sound?
I didn't do it.
You guys want to do my
It was not. I'm sitting.
Pretty small room.
You guys can hear us, right?
Yeah.
Project.
Hey guys, thanks for coming to welcome the voice actors.
Yes, so you're supposed to welcome us, and we don't talk. You just keep welcoming.
Welcome.
Welcome. But you have to do it in different languages.
You just
Konnichiwa.
Hola.
Annyeong.
Anyan. Anyan.
I guess we just
Non-holiday.
I see what you did there.
Moira, yep.
Watch out for this guy.
exactly.
Howdy.
Maybe I use the mic so I don't have to stress.
Non-holiday.
Okay.
Okay. Is that better?
Yep.
I guess it's to find out who we are and all that stuff. And if you have questions, you can ask, right?
Yes.
So, and I'll ask you guys questions. You can ask me questions. You can ask each other questions. We can ask you questions if we want. You detached.
Yeah, well, no.
Yeah. I guess my name is Daryl Gilbo. If you don't know who I am, some of my characters are Mikado from Durarara. Who else? Hakaru from Magi, the Magi series. Maimon in Blue Exorcist. Let's see. A lot of other things. Some video games. Beautiful Joe in Marvel vs. Capcom.
Yeah.
Stuff.
Hi everyone, I'm Blake Shepard. I voice Soma in Food Wars. No, thank you. Agito Akito in Air Gear. I'm in Hakuoki as Lighto and Diabolic Lovers. What's the name of my character? Soji. Thank you. Soji Okita. I'm also a Tanaka-kun, and Tanaka-kun is always listless. Harumi and Dog and Scissors. And I just got to be Red Ninja in My Hero Academia. And I'm also Soldier in Attack on Titan. And Pirate in One Piece. So look out for that one.
I got a lot of those.
You did all the pirates in One Piece.
That sounds dirty.
That's so bad.
Hey guys, my name is Ray Chase. I'm also a voice actor. I play Noctis in Final Fantasy 15. Master of Masters in Kingdom Hearts. Edgar from Final Fantasy 6. Roy from Fire Emblem. Alphonse from Fire Emblem. Mitsurugi, which just came out a couple days ago, and Soul Calibur 6. A whole bunch of stuff, mostly video games, some anime. Finally got into My Hero Academia. It takes a long time. I play, I'm in the movie My Hero Academia 2 Heroes, and I play David Shield, who's one of all my best friends from school. This is all about voice actors. We've just met. Daryl and I met at the Durarara cast party 15 years ago.
Haven't seen each other since.
No, we haven't.
And we're here to, I don't know, answer questions. We also have a panel tomorrow, so save your good questions for that one. I mean, come on, guys. You guys have questions for us?
I want to know what you're eating. What are you eating?
Potato chips.
What kind of potato chip?
What are these?
That's pretty bad when you don't know what you're eating.
The level of joy on your face right now is like, you look like the happiest person in the room right now. It's like, what is it?
What am I eating?
Can we get a picture of you marrying us?
Oh my God!
What does that mean? Marrying both of you separately, or like literally officiating a wedding?
Like us
Just for a picture.
getting married, and you are the
Like
the
the
priest.
officiator? Definitely, yes.
Yes!
I'll run to the bathroom and get some towels to do a makeshift. We'll run to the con fix-it thing and be like, we need a rubber band for this.
And then you can come over to me and I'll just sign your divorce papers.
Too soon.
We got a question over here.
It happens.
So, I'm a fan of at least one thing that each of you guys have done. So, I was wondering, growing up, did you guys have any big inspiration of like an actor that you saw that really inspired you? You know, like Harrison Ford, Mark Hamill, one of them.
You know, my favorite was honestly, and it sounds silly because like a lot of people say Mel Blanc, and like obviously yes, Mel Blanc is a huge inspiration to everyone, but Casey Kasem. Because I remember his voice as a kid from one of the Ghostbuster films where like they do like the overdubs of like, yeah, sweeping the country, Casey Kasem, you know. And I had no idea who Casey Kasem was as a kid, but that voice always stuck with me. And then I found out he did Shaggy from Scooby-Doo. And one of my first acting roles ever was dressing up like Shaggy from Scooby-Doo in a Verizon wireless store because they were doing a Scooby-Doo movie promotion. So like they needed a guy to sound like Shaggy. And the way I did it was I took the Casey Kasem voice and like just made it a little crazier. So yeah, and just like younged it up a little bit because I knew that he did the voice. So and I'd always liked that Casey Kasem voice from Ghostbusters. He was my first inspiration.
Cool.
I always loved Charles Martinet, voice of Mario Waluigi.
Still not Smash.
Yeah. Mario Party 3 was my game. He did all the voices. I just spent so much time parroting them back and forth. And there's a supercut of like all the efforts that he did for like Super Mario Sunshine, all of the punches, all of the kicks, and he just goes freaking crazy. He's so creative. Like sometimes we're doing like punching and kicking sounds, and we just get bored. Like how else can you go? Huh? But he finds a way. It's so interesting to hear his work. I just got Super Mario Party, and it's great.
It's fun.
It's really fun. Yeah. Yeah.
You know, for me, because I just always wanted to be an actor. I don't know how or why or whatever. Just always remember as a kid wanting to be. And I used to watch a lot of the old black and white movies, you know, from the 30s, 40s, 50s. And so, I mean, I loved like Marlon Brando and even like, you know, Humphrey Bogart, you know, all these old movies. And I just love those type of movies. And I think that inspired me. And then, you know, like in the 70s, I started loving the Italian New York actors, you know, Al Pacino, Robert De Niro, you know, that kind of tough guy kind of stuff. And I just like good acting, you know, and so there's not any one particular actor, but when I see a performance, sometimes that just hooks me. I love it.
I heard a funny voice acting, like an acting story recently that apparently when the FBI started trying to infiltrate the mob, the FBI people didn't know how mobsters really talk, and they were trying to act like mobsters they'd seen in the movies. like using, you know, stuff like, hey, you know, I got a guy, and it's like all the mobsters are like, who the hell are these dudes? It's like,
Jack Little Horse's head.
You know you.
I always thought that.
That's funny.
Do your research, people.
That's funny.
Okay.
Anyone else? Yes, sir.
Was there any like voices that you wanted to act as in like the past, or had a chance to but couldn't actually do it?
Oh, they said they wouldn't bring this up. Sorry.
All of them.
Whoa. Right?
My one that I really wanted was I wanted to be one of the dudes in Battle of the Planets when they redid it as Gatchaman. But I just sounded too young. Like that's one of those shows where it's like everybody's 40. You know? And so they let me audition for it because I knew I really wanted it. But I was like 22. So it was a long time ago. Maybe I could do it now, but probably not.
See, that's the same way me. I don't have a deep voice. You've got a deep voice. And I don't have a deep voice. So there's a lot of those, soldier or Call of Duty things that, unless maybe the character might be a little younger, sometimes you have a chance. But
I don't get to be a protagonist in an anime. That's the difference.
Yeah, I get called a lot for like phone sex operator guy. It's like, I need a really quiet, like smoky something. It's like, all right, I'll come in and do it.
Wow.
But then they're like, then he needs to scream, and I'm like, oh, how would this guy scream? He's just whispering the whole time.
One cool opportunity that I got to do was Roy from Fire Emblem. That was that I grew up playing.
Yeah.
He was my guy. He and Dr. Mario, who I played as. I like the slower characters. And
Roy's our boy.
Roy's literally my boy. And that was the craziest thing. And I did not audition for him. I happened to, just a fluke, they happened to get the guy who is such a Roy fanboy. It was crazy. I went in for Alphonse, the Lord from Fire Emblem Heroes, and they said, why don't you give Roy a try while you're here, while we have you? And that was crazy. I couldn't believe it, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and then I did it, and it was only like 15 minutes of work because Fire Emblem Heroes, they don't say much. And then it was 6 months, and I thought, oh, for sure they chose somebody else. But that was cool to download the game and hear my voice. That was nuts.
Cool.
Yeah.
That is very cool.
You got a question, yeah?
Yeah, you ever go like the drive-through from McDonald's? You try to do your character voice.
Use our voices for evil?
Yeah.
Sign me up.
The only time I ever used my acting for evil, I signed up my dog for a dog daycare center, and I paid a lot. I had to pay like a lump sum in the beginning, and then I found out that I had a bill that I had to pay that I couldn't afford, and I had to get my money back. And so I had to go to them and say that my dog was hit by a car. And that was very sad. That was a terrible time. And they were around my neighborhood, so I had to make sure not to walk him during daylight hours. But it
Your
worked.
dog's like, why don't we ever go outside all day?
Why are supposed to be dead? He's wondering why he has all these costumes on him,
Yeah. Now that's playing
Oh,
dead.
that sucks.
Yep.
Yay, art life.
Yay. What about you guys?
I forgot the question now.
Yeah,
Did
Did
you
you
ever
ever
use
dog?
your voice for evil?
Or McDonald's, or to buy hamburgers.
I used to prank call my friends a lot before I became a voice actor. I would always use my powers for evil. And I have two great stories that I could tell them both, but one time I made one of my friends throw up because I stressed him out so bad. So I got sick. I was like the kid that should have died on the Oregon Trail when I was a child. I was sick every other week. I had like a respiratory infection or like strep throat. So I was at home. My friends were having a party. We were like sophomores in high school, and they were drinking, and his parents were out of town. I'm like, and he was always sort of like a teetotaler, kind of like he was always trying to like do the right thing. Like he's one of those friends that like, I'm gonna grow up and be a cop, you know? Like he's one of those guys. And so I called his house as a policeman and said I've been getting noise complaints. And I said, I need, you sound like a good kid, I was like, I tell you what, why don't you read your driver's license number to me? I'm going to write it down, I'm going to put it in the system. And I said, and if I send an officer out there, he's going to have to talk to you. I want to make sure you're there. And, oh, yes, sir. He said, oh, right away. And he went and got his wallet and gave me his driver's license number. I was like, well, you sound like a good. He's like, oh, yes, sir. I'm an Eagle Scout. Number 348279. I was like, I can't put that in the computer, son. He's like, so, but anyway, my friends, I called back. I was like, hey, did you get a call from the cops? He's like, you made him throw up. He ran to the bathroom and puked.
Oh no.
And then another time I was listening to an Eric Clapton CD with all those like wonderful Tonight songs on it. I was like, this is perfect background music. So I called one of my buddies as like a bill collector, and I just kept putting him on hold till you look on just holding it up to the radio and I'd pause it. Like, hang on. Yeah, this is the manager. I need to speak to a manager. This is ridiculous. So I kept changing my voice and doing different characters. It went on for like 45 minutes. And then I finally went, hey dude, I was just calling to see what's going on. How are you? It's like so mad.
That's pretty evil.
Yeah,
Oh.
it was summer. I was bored.
Well, I haven't used my voice for any dastardly plot.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
yes, because you're a horrible human being.
Yeah.
No, but sometimes I do, because I do Beautiful Joe and Marvel vs. Capcom, right? So sometimes I go to the tournaments that they have at the cons, and I'll go behind the people playing, especially if they're doing Joe, and I'll start doing the voice. Kind of freaks them out a little bit, you know? But one time I was doing it, and there was this girl, she was just watching, and she goes, "You do a really good Beautiful Joe." and the other people knew, because it was planned that I'd be there because it was a tournament, you know, and I was going to play the winner. But they all laughed at her. They said, "That is Beautiful Joe." You know? Because, oh, that's why.
Good question.
Yes, very good question.
Nope.
Go for it.
Thank you. All right, this one goes out to you, but it also goes to you too if you play the series. But you voiced Roy, right? Was that only for Fire Emblem Heroes, or did you voice him in Smash Bros as well, or just that one?
It's weird because I cannot officially confirm or deny that I worked on Smash Brothers Ultimate. But being that I was the voice of Roy for the other game, and there hasn't been another voice since, it would make sense that I would be in this, but I could not confirm or deny. So it might happen.
Okay, and is there any character in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate that you hope makes it into the playable roster? Like, any at all?
Oh, wow. Well, not this for sure, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Waluigi definitely needs to be in there. And it's crazy how many characters they have.
Over 70 now.
Yeah, especially with these Echo Fighters that they could just slap a skin on someone and call that a character. It's great. So you could just have anybody. I would like, if they had another Fire Emblem here, someone who didn't have a sword, that would be nice.
Hector?
Yeah, Hector with his axe. That'd be so much better. Or Sora, I think would be. Yeah, that would be a really fun one. Yeah, they really need more square characters in there for sure.
Chino?
Chino.
Super Mario RPG.
Oh, I never played that. I didn't have a Super NES.
Oh, He's Pinocchio with cosmic powers.
That sums it up. That's serious.
I'm totally ignorant about video games. I'm like the kid that would hang out with his friends and stand in the back like, good one! So, are these all DLC characters?
Yeah, like, future characters, like DLC counts.
Well, no, so this Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, they're having every single character from every Smash Brothers back in, plus like 20 new characters. It's insane. It's an insane number.
It's an insane amount.
Yeah, absolutely insane. So that's why everyone's always speculating. Well, you could put more because it's not like for a game like Soul Calibur they have to do so much crazy animation, motion capture, and make it feel the weight and stuff. But for Nintendo, they can do anything that they want and make a character. But I guess the problem is making it balanced. You don't want a character who's too OP, and so you have to make sure it goes well with every other character.
Bayonetta.
I hope they nerf her, yeah.
Nerf!
Is Kirby a character?
Yeah, Kirby's out.
And he sucks up other characters and takes their power and swears their head. Yeah, that's pretty dope.
How'd you not know this?
I don't know anything about games!
The games are out for 20 years!
I've been playing the same Batman Arkham games for like 6 years, and I just replay them over and over again, just like fly around in the rain.
That's quality.
Batman. It's just like, my friend's like, don't you want to go out? I was like, I'll take a break when crime takes a break.
Which is never.
Yeah, so if you go back in time, what do you say to your younger self?
Oh, man.
Oh my god. How many years back?
That's just,
What would I say to my youngest?
yeah, like when I was 11. Like, be a great artist.
You know what? When I was a kid, I limited my video game playing time by myself. I just felt like it was wrong to play more than 2 hours a day. So I would tell myself, don't worry about it, kid.
You'll be good. You'll be good.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
You'll be voicing a character in no time.
Exactly, yeah.
Have at it.
Yeah,
Well, you can.
but I had no idea that you could make a career out of it when I was a kid. There weren't
it was
even
so
that many.
different.
Yeah, there weren't even that many games that had voice acting. I played Beautiful Joe, and it didn't have any voice acting.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Oh my God. I would tell myself, I'd have to have a long sit-down chat. I mean, honest, seriously, on so many different, I'd say just prepare yourself. I can't go into details, but I'm sure it'd be a lot of just things I've learned from life and also career choices and things I've kind of blew because of nervousness or insecurities, and then you start, it wasn't so serious. Don't, tell myself, just don't stress about it so much. And actually, maybe that is one thing. When I was a younger actor and I was starting out, everything was so do or die, because you wanted to like make it so bad, whatever that means, right? I'm gonna make it. You just want to work. And of course now, I just want to work as an actor. That's what I want to do. And but when I'd go to an audition and you feel like usually you screw yourself up because you're so. And then I would leave and try to replay everything I did wrong, or did I do this right, or all the nerves, And I think now I would just. And then I learned, let it go. Just you go in, you do your best, you let it go, and then trust whatever work you're supposed to get is going to come. I would have. That's what I would tell myself. Don't stress it so much. Just go in, have a good time, do your best. That's all you can do, and you can't get into the head of the casting people. There's so much that's out of your control, in whether it's voice acting or live acting. You never know why they choose people that they choose. So you just have to let it go and do your best and trust. I mean, I think that was one of the biggest things I learned throughout as being an actor is just doing your best and keep moving. Oh, that's not.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with everything you said. The one thing I would say to myself is, like you, sorry.
You would just.
A little more in the back of the throat.
Whatever it takes so I don't grow up to look like you. But the one thing I would tell myself is to just be more mindful of how I talk to myself. Because I think that, especially actors, we've become very self-critical. So taking the time to just not go to the first negative thought about ourselves and step back and practice saying nice things to myself more so. Because I feel like you said, it creates that insecurity and all that like head stuff. And life's too short, and I feel like that, I guess maybe I'm becoming more aware of how I treat myself does affect other people. It does affect the people around you, because you start carrying weight that rubs off on other people. And you could be making other people feel bad just by you feeling bad about yourself. So, I don't know, that's probably what I'd say to myself.
Well said. You're an inspiration, sir.
That was like a very English clap,
Yeah.
Great British.
Very polite crowd. Tea and crumpets for
Tata, how do you?
Crumpets.
What the hell is a crumpet?
I don't know.
Anyone know what a crumpet is?
It's a scone.
It's a little holy stone.
Have you eaten one?
Yeah.
I never have.
I've eaten scone.
I've had one.
There's a
now.
reason they didn't take off in America. I'll just say that.
Well,
They dip them in their tea. No?
It's no biscuit.
There's no biscuit.
It's good with marmalade.
Oh.
If you like real lady marmalade.
You gotta do French while you're eating the English crumpet. Yes.
Have you guys had a role that you've regretted doing?
Not with the camera rolling.
As someone who has narrated audiobook erotica about Ireland in the 15th century.
That's the hottest audiobook.
No, I actually haven't. I'm glad that I did it. And actually, I found somebody tagged me on Twitter. They said it was some random Twitter who only reads Highland erotica.
I knew there was
I
such
wish
a
I
thing.
could. It should be. This was like yesterday.
Wait, yesterday?
Give him a shout
Yeah,
out.
call him.
Yeah.
Wait, come on. Oh, damn. Okay.
I don't
Call him and
know.
use the voice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be. Oh yeah. So I go mentions. Let's see.
How do you do? Do you have to heavy breathe in a Scottish accent?
I do such thing.
I beg to differ.
I'll find it. But yeah, I don't mind. I like doing crazy stuff.
Is haggis involved?
Haggis was not involved. It was
that's
all
good.
about the big deal in the 15th century was bathtubs because they were such a luxury because you had to heat the water in the basement, bring it all the way up. And this Highlander had a tower and he had a dumbwaiter system where the water would go all the way up from the basement to his bath tower, and that was the hottest thing, apparently.
Interesting.
Have you guys regretted anything?
To me, it's.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
mean, it's a job's a job. It's a job is a job.
Maybe there's been times where I've watched some of my shows and I'd be like, I would have said that line differently.
That's different,
If
yeah,
I would have known
right.
the context
Yeah.
of what's happening here,
Yeah.
but the director didn't tell me.
More like that, where you see something and you wish, oh, I wish I could have done it more like this, or because to me, acting is never finite. It's like if you've done theater, you realize every show you do is different, and it's never complete because like the next show you might learn something different about your character. I mean, I know a lot of plays I've done where like closing night, like something hits, and you're only able to do it that one time because it's an evolution of learning about characters. So I think you could always grow with a character. So it's never really a finite thing to me.
I did find it.
Okay,
I
all
actually
right.
realized they probably reviewed. They didn't.
Oh.
Weird. They just are a fan, but
You
they
should
did not
complain.
This is at Highland Listeners. At Highland Listen. If you're looking for men in kilts, spunky women, and a sexy Highland burr, Highland Listeners provides you with reviews of the best Highland romance audiobooks. They are in Berlin, and they have 50 followers. And I went to their website to see if they reviewed it, because they said, I loved Ray Chase's narration of My Fair Highlander. Nothing.
Do you have to do a Scottish accent?
I didn't know such thing.
I didn't know such thing.
They liked my narration, but not enough to review it on their own website at highlandlisteners.com.
Interesting.
Maybe they're still listening.
Look at these books! You guys! The Immortal Highlander.
Are they all
The Dark Highlander. They are all audio erotica. Kiss of the Highlanders. Highlander's Touch. In which a half-Fey Highlander meets a spunky American.
What?
Spunky. They're always spunky.
Damn.
Who uses that word?
Spunky.
Wow, this is fascinating.
I love that they're in Berlin. It's like, who's that spunky? Spunky America.
As one who has listened to dozens and dozens of Highland romance audiobooks, I couldn't help but notice certain characteristics that make out the genre. Characteristics such as the broad-chested, deep-voiced, and hard-muscled alpha-male Highlander, the sassy, unintimidated heroine, the magical setting of the Scottish Highlands. But what elements make Highland romance audiobooks particularly unique and desirable? And it's a long blog post.
That is a very
This is amazing. I have a lot of reading to do.
That's ridiculous.
I tapped into something wonderful.
went to a dark hole.
Yeah.
There's a lot of plaid involved.
Yes.
Plaid and ginger, yeah, it's all
Yeah.
Ginger and plaid.
But I don't regret it. Yes.
I thought of this when he said, the director didn't tell me. I heard that a lot of times in voice acting, you actually won't know what you're voice acting aside from like very vague outlines. Like, how often does that happen?
Always.
99.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's gotten better since the strike. That was one of the things was for the strike. It was we weren't allowed to even know what games we were working
Right.
on, and our agents couldn't know.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
now I don't think I get sent scripts beforehand, which is really nice, which never happened
Yeah,
before.
yeah.
So it's definitely gotten a little bit better. Yeah, we're still always in the dark, especially for what our characters look like.
Yeah.
I mean, that's always the last thing you know.
Yeah,
so you
especially
boot
for a
up the
video
game.
game.
Yeah.
And anime, I mean, I don't know about Texas, but anime, though, you still don't really well, it's changed a little bit. Yeah, normally I
Don't you get to see their
But
lips
you
and
get to
stuff?
see what you're working.
You
Do you even get to see a
yeah, you
picture?
get to see because it's already been done in Japanese.
Yeah.
But you don't get a script in advance.
Oh, in advance.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
no, God,
Yeah,
heaven
no,
forbid.
you just because then you don't even know what the story is a lot of times until they tell you you know, line by line by line. You're reacting to, oh, this is what's happening. And these are the things that happened that your character's not involved in that may pertain to your character that you might need to know. You know, because you don't get to see the scenes that your character's not involved in. You know. Wow.
Like when I was Trip in Dramatical Murder, I had no idea he was such a scoundrel. I thought he was just a dude in a nice suit. I didn't know anything about all the nonsense going on.
You
in the
missed
background.
it. You missed it, and I'm so sad.
Don't look behind the curtains. But yeah, the simul-dubbing for Funimation has been an interesting experience because we're literally doing something different every week, and we don't know what's going to happen with the next episode. And sometimes they'll get an episode or two in advance, but I mean, you're only working maybe 1 week in advance at a time, depending on how the writers are keeping up with the pace of releasing things. So yeah, that's one of the reasons why being an actor is really important in this industry, is because you have to have the chops to be able to adapt your performance to the necessary plot points that your characters might get thrust into. Because a lot of times even it's hard for us. You get a character who's one way, and then there's one episode where they're completely different, and they're behaving in a completely weird way because it's like an OVA or something. So yeah, there's all kinds of really funny, weird things that can happen. You never know. Lots of chocolates. I know that. Yeah.
Did you guys set out to be voice actors specifically, or did you aim for acting and kind of wind up in voice acting?
The crippling acne that I had when I was a young lad did not help my acting career in any way. And so I found myself in voice acting, and it was something that I practiced a whole lot as a kid and knew a whole lot. I didn't realize how much work there was out there. It still took a good 3 or 4 years of doing just online stuff and odd jobs here and there before I finally really made a bid for it and started booking some good work and doing the agent thing and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, that theater and film degree for sure.
Yeah, and I've always just been an artist. I never really thought of acting as like my final career goal. It was always just, it was something that people would pay me to do. And so I just kept doing it. I was like, if I wasn't doing this, I'd be working at McDonald's. So act your heart out, baby. And I paid for my college degree with the voice acting stuff. Well, sort of. I'm still paying. But I got a degree because I wanted a serious job, so I got an animation degree, which is pretty much the same thing as being an actor, where it's like, hey, what am I doing this week?
Right.
You know, let me shine your shoes, let me do a dance. Like, so it's always different. I'm always learning. You never stop. You know, it's just a constant evolution as an artist. So starving artist, that's a real word, it's a real thing. All the people that are like, I want to be an artist, it's like, it's not what you think it is. It's lying about your not dead dog because you can't make the bread. It's hard to do. So yeah, I've started having those fun conversations where they're like, so what are you gonna do about all this, like it's piling up, you know, and so you have to diversify and keep changing and growing. So I always knew I wanted to be an artist. I've just changed the form of what that is over the years.
I just always wanted to be an actor. I did local theater, and then I went to American Academy of Dramatic Arts. I went there for 2 years, and actually, I booked my very first job, my very first audition outside of graduating the academy, which was like a shock. You know, and then you think it was like 2 weeks.
It's gonna be so easy.
Right,
Yeah.
it was like 2 weeks work, and they're gonna pay me. What? And then of course you think it's always gonna happen like that, and it doesn't. You know, and then you struggle and you do odd jobs and you survive, and you get another part, and then you just keep going, and you hope things, you know, keep going. So, and then again, you never know what genre you're gonna end up in, because I didn't start, wanting to be particularly a voiceover actor. I just wanted to work. And to me, it was whatever it would be, whether it be theater, it would be voiceover, or movies, TV, whatever they want me to do, I'll do. You know, commercials, whatever. And so, yeah.
Well, yeah, and I definitely say, real quick, anyone who wants to be an actor or anyone who wants to go into any kind of art profession, a lot of, and I'm sure these guys have experienced it too, where you have those years or maybe a couple of years where you're working all the time and money's just flowing and everything's great and you're meeting all these amazing people, and then suddenly it's crickets. And you don't work maybe even for a year. And you're like, my gosh, I haven't had a big role in forever. But it's what you do in that downtime that makes you the performer that you're going to be. If you let yourself get down on yourself, if you don't work on your craft, if you don't keep growing, if you don't keep reinventing yourself, then those wait times will get longer and longer and longer. And you see it with a lot of actors that don't have the confidence to stick in there and really do the hard work. You know, that's your opportunity to do that.
You're making your own show.
Yeah. And that honestly, it came out of a dip. I mean, I didn't, that's not why I brought this up, but it did. I mean, really, like I had to decide, like, what do I want to do? You know, there was younger actors coming in that were getting roles that maybe I would have gotten at some point, but I mean, who's to say that I necessarily would have gotten it? You know, that's me getting in my own head trying to make some insecurity, right? So it was a time where I thought maybe I wanted to go back and get a master's degree. And I was like, why am I going to pay a stupid school just to let me make an animation that they're going to half own because it's a thesis? Right. You know, I was like, why don't I just make a thesis? You know, I can do it myself, you know, and so the only hard thing, Patreon was like a full-time job. That's crazy. I don't even I'm like, I need someone now every month. It's like making rent, you know, like you gotta send out stuff, but it's fun, you know, it's mine.
And you know, and that's the thing too, is that people don't understand the amount of even money we put out, the amount of time we put out just to get work that may not even come to you. I mean, sometimes I feel like, because there's tons of people out there that want your money, you know, whether it's, you know, we were talking earlier, the thing about LA with, now they want you a lot of times to record your auditions at home, right? So you're doing the work, you know, for a lot of projects, and you're sending them your MP3. So you don't even get the luxury anymore of going in and having a director give you some direction. You're just, which I miss.
And a guy operating the camera, and a guy doing lights.
And they call this EcoCast if you're doing on-camera stuff. They want you to film it at home, good lighting, a good backdrop, and I'm like, I'm an actor, I'm not a tech, you know? But they want to, you know, because they're saving money by not having you go in. They're saving money not having to rent the studio. They're saving money by not having to pay a reader. Because then you have to have a friend or whoever you're with, a partner, read to you, you know, do the other side. So there's a lot of stuff you have to do on your own that you're not getting paid for, just to get the work, you know. And
auditioning is our job.
Yeah,
that's
auditioning,
the job.
yeah, and yet you don't get paid for it.
Yeah, and
you get paid once you get it, but.
And I'll talk about this a lot in the Animation 101 panel, but I mean the way we have, you know, 8 episodes we're working on right now for this show, and I'm doing all the voices because you have to do a scratch track to animate the rough storyboards too. So what we're doing is I'm going in and recording everybody, and then we, you know, time out the storyboards, and then we just watch it. Me and the other writers and a couple of the producers, I just say, is this good? You know, and then go, this drags a little bit. I don't really know if this line's going anywhere. This joke didn't really hit. And either I'll say, okay, let's fix it, or the animation will fix the joke. It'll be fine. You know, it's in there. You know, and they kind of like, you know, they look to me to do the final approval. But I mean, it's all like we need to be brutal. Like, tell me if it sucks, because if it does, then we need to fix it. You know, this is the time to make a change. But yeah, it's tons of work. Is it raining?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh my God, really?
I think we're getting that last wing of that hurricane.
Yeah,
it was like a little leg coming
Oh,
through.
Yeah.
the last leg.
Yep.
The one that came from the Pacific?
Another question. One for Ray and then one for everybody. But you mentioned that you did theater. Do you
I'm Daryl.
Yeah, sorry.
That's right.
Sorry.
But we look so much alike.
But we also both did theater.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
And
okay.
I used to wear glasses.
Yeah.
Okay, so then for both of you, so you both mentioned that you did theater and you did that kind of like in-person acting. Do you prefer that or voiceovers? Or do you not have a preference?
They both are so different.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Voice acting is amazing because you get to be in video games, and that's the coolest. And you get paid.
Yeah.
But you're in a blank box working with one, maybe two people. Whereas theater, you get the live reaction of having an audience in front of you, and nothing can beat that. Don't ever get paid for it, but it's really, really fun. And there's also something annoying about how piecemeal the process can be in voice acting, because you're only doing your one little line in one little scene, and then you move on to the next one. You don't ever get to play scenes. Very rarely do you get that luxury. If you're doing mocap, you get to actually play a scene. But in theater, you get to memorize the whole damn script, and then go up on there and do the whole thing and play the character's entire arc. That's really satisfying as an actor, for sure.
You know, and I think the interesting, and I think that's why I like acting, is that I've tried 9 to 5. You know, like I stopped acting for a little bit and I ended up in a corporate job in Century City in one of those high rises, and it was
very cool.
No, it wasn't. And it was soulless, and it was just horrible, and it was gray, like walls and cubicles, and I was just like, there is no identity. It was. We had 4 floors. It was a doctor's medical malpractice insurance company.
Yep, high school.
And I worked in the underwriting department, and there was this girl who worked. She was on this side, and when I just needed to like get out, we were on the 7th floor. I would go out, and windows all around. I would go there, and she would look at me, and she, "Don't jump, girl, don't jump." And I was like, hold me back, hold me back. I'm about to go.
10 minutes?
But I was just going to say, that is the good thing, is that to me, I love the variety of it. Like, if you find yourself on a movie set, it's so different than being on stage or doing a voiceover. You get to do all these different kinds of things. You're not always just at the same place, all the time. So I enjoy that, and I think you just get to exercise different muscles as an actor and doing different variety of projects.
So I had an epiphany the other day, and I realized I want to start going to see more theater, because movies are starting to be as expensive as going to see live theater. It's like $25 to go see a movie if you go to like RPX or whatever that stupid big chair thing is. But
and the food.
And you're not staring at a screen. That's the thing, like you're staring at a screen, whether it's Netflix or a movie or whatever, and just like frying your retinas, with like ultraviolet whatever. And like when you go to a theater play, like it's organic, it's people, it's actually happening, it's just a totally, but anyway, I went and saw a Sherlock Holmes play the other night, and it wasn't great. It was, it was a regular, like, what do they call it, like a community theater kind of thing, but it was still so much fun, because you're there with people. You're having an experience together. It's the shared thing, and I was like, man, I told my girlfriend, I was like, it's so great that we're gonna go watch entertainment and not have to worry about our eyes getting tired from staring at a UV, like have to wear my glasses because I like need UV protection from the screen.
And what's fun too, because it's live, when you're watching, sometimes things don't always go right in a play. But the cool thing is to see how the actors fix it, or how they come back to it. I remember I was at the at the Amundsen. And Lily Tomlin was doing, now it's a one-woman play, so it's a little different, I do too. She was doing Search for the Intelligent Life. Now this is a one-woman show where she's playing a multitude of characters. She forgot her lines. Lily Tomlin, right, the great Lily Tomlin. But she's a pro. And so she knew it, so she was like, I messed this up, I'm gonna do. But the way she did it was so funny, and she was like, now don't tell anyone. I'm gonna do this. And then she went back, and the show was perfect. So because it's almost like you get a relationship with the people, that those things are so forgivable, and I saw like Mary Poppins, right? And
I ushered Mary Poppins.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, that was one of my first jobs.
Were you there the night? Now this was a few years ago.
At the Amundsen, yeah.
Okay, were you there the night Dick Van Dyke was there?
Yeah. Well, he
I
came
was-
in at the end.
Yeah. Well, he also played one of the banker guys.
Yes.
So I was there that night.
Wow.
In the audience,
So
and like,
that's when we really met.
and you probably showed me to my seat.
I might have, yeah.
Wow. You kicked him out when he
Or you
moved up a
kicked me
bit.
out,
Just
like,
like,
because usually that's what I'm like this.
Yeah.
Oh, there's an empty seat down there. I think I'll-
No, I was
and I'm
always
little, so I
excited.
scamper. But yeah, I mean, like, what an amazing thing. Here's Dick Van Dyke who did the movie. The one night I go, you know, they announce, you know, that it's him, right? And there you get to see Dick Van Dyke for that one night, be a part of that show.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I love live theater too, because I think, yeah. Anybody? Oh, yeah. We have
But anyway,
a little bit more time.
food for thought. So if you
Yeah.
guys want to start going to see theater, maybe better than
Support live
watching
theater.
TV. Yeah.
Yes, yeah, I agree. I love live
And now
theater.
it's about the same price. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or go to matinee, it's still cheaper.
yeah. Student discounts usually. So
I mean, we
bring your
actually
student ID.
have live theater thing for, oh my gosh, Sir Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen. Like, they started off from Shakespeare.
They are so amazing.
Well, and they still do it, yeah.
Yeah, and they still do. Yeah. Can I tell you my little live theater story?
Yeah.
Are you familiar with the Independent Shakespeare Company?
No.
Okay, they're in Griffith Park, and it's equity actually. So I worked with them for about 4 years. Talk about what happens in live theater. But before that, we were at Barnsdall Park, and we had a big stage, 4 to 5 feet up. We do 3 shows in the summer. It was Hamlet. It was closing night of Hamlet, and I played Rosencrantz and also one of the guards in the beginning. I forgot his Marcellus or something like that. So closing night, we're on stage and we're outdoors. So you know LA, when it gets a little in the summer, the marine layer comes over, and when it comes over, our stage got a little beady, you know, liquid,
no.
little wet. So I'm Marcellus at the time. I wasn't Rosencrantz yet. I'm doing an exit. Next thing I know, I'm on the ground, and the dust. And there's like we have like 1,000 people come to see the show. And next thing I knew, there's dust. And I'm like, I'm on the ground. Why am I on the ground? I'm not supposed to be on the ground. And then I stood up and my arm was down here.
Oh.
My arm was like down here.
Oh, you broke.
And I was like, that's not right. Because I think I was in shock.
Yeah.
And I'm so I just get up and I'm walking. And the other actor told me he thought I was like, why am I ad-libbing? But I was talking to myself, I guess, just going on. And then, but then, you know, he turned around because he was already backstage. And when I saw his, because he did this. Then that's when the pain hit me. You know? So
Kill me, please.
we're close. 5 minutes. So they literally had to stop. So the next scene, Marcellus goes out again with Hamlet and the other thing, they're seeing the ghost and all that. But the guy, he's from England, he goes out to the front, he's walking like Hamlet, very serious. He goes, is there a doctor in the house? And the audience is laughing. He goes, no, really? Is there a doctor in the house? Well, I dislocated my shoulder.
Oh.
So they had to call the ambulance, and there was a hospital down on the hill. That,
Yeah, right there.
Right there.
Children's hospital, yeah.
So it comes, and they stop the show, and they come, and I'm thinking to myself, well, they asked me, they said, okay, where are you? And I'm like, Denmark? And then, no, at the play. They go, yeah, okay. So I go to emergency, and in my head I'm thinking, okay, they'll just put my arm back in. I'll come back and I'll finish it. And because we're a repertory, they have actors who were there that were not part of the show, so they had an actor going with my script,
Okay,
which is
good.
like a
To finish it.
right. So I always highlight my lines, and to me, it's always like, what do you call it? You know, when you have you know, you do something all the time to keep.
Muscle memory?
No, as the show, like I always bring the script because it's the original thing. It's like a superstition sort of.
Okay.
I always bring the script with me because I always feel like that's where it starts. So I always make sure it's with me. So thank goodness though, because it was, you know, the stage directions and also highlighted, so the actor can go and read as my part. But anyway, so yeah, so I dislocated my shoulder and then had to have surgery and all that stuff. So live theater. Great.
See, I thought in movies they could just like pop it
Yeah,
back
I know, I
into
did
play.
too. That's why I was thinking, oh yeah, they'll just put it back and then I'll come back and I'll finish the play. But I was like knocked out.
Whoa.
And it's painful. Don't ever do it. I found out my shoulder. I found out like later because it was a workers' comp thing that I actually didn't get the right treatment. But I have a dent, like in my bone, which you know, like when your car, your fender hits something, there's that little dent. That's what I have in here.
Oh.
It was bad.
Jeez.
No fun. Anyway.
Things we do for theater.
Yeah.
But it was all about the art. But it's so weird that that's in your mind that, hey, the show must go on.
Yeah.
You're willing to just...
Well, especially if you're in shock, I could totally see that,
Yeah.
where you're like kind of in denial. You're like, no, they'll just
Yeah,
pop
I
it in
was-
and I'll come
yeah,
back.
I was-
and
I kept thinking, no, just give me ice.
No,
And
there's so
in my
much
head, I
going
kept thinking, maybe I can, maybe I can go on. Maybe it's not really something. But I was in costume, and I couldn't even really see because Shakespeare, you got all that stuff over you.
Right.
But the next summer, because they didn't really fix it right, the next summer I'm doing a sword fight, and it popped down on stage. And then I have to go down, and my arm. But when I went back down, it popped back in. But then they're supposed to come and they're supposed to drag me off. And I was like, oh my god! So I held it like really tight, like, oh my god, when they pull me off stage. Yeah, but for a year it kept popping in and out. And I'd have to pop back in.
Oh, God. No minutes left.
you're like a cage fighter.
I know.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, this has been really fun. Any last question, like quick questions, yes, no questions?
Ray, can I hear your Roy?
No.
Roy's our boy.
Yeah. All right.
That was quick. That's all we got.
Favorite ice cream flavor?
I like. What's that moose stuff?
Moose tracks?
Yes, moose track.
It's a toss-up between pistachio and coffee flavor.
But also like spumoni.
Yogurtland has a flavor called Rocket Pop. It's amazing.
Ooh.
It doesn't taste like anything of this world.
Well, it's a rocket pop.
Yeah.
It's alien flavored.
Yeah.
Yes?
I was gonna ask you, right, like Rocket Pop, is that like the these popsicles?
It's supposed to be like the popsicles, but it doesn't
That's so
taste like
cool.
anything. It's just it's bright blue. It's awesome.
Wow.
Yeah.
It must be seasonal.
It is.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
There was an ice cream I ate when I was a kid called Sour Yuck, and it was sour ice cream.
Up, 3 o'clock.
That was actually your mom lying to you. Yeah. Spoiled.
All right, guys. Thanks for coming.
milk and
I've got
sugar.
signings at 4.
Guys, and remember too, at 7:30 tonight is if you're over 18, Cards Against the Con here, and it's gonna be a lot of fun, I guarantee you.
Oh, yeah.
Yay.
You guys come to
Slightly.
Okay, we'll do the picture there.